Alright, so today's video isn't the most cheery, happiest video. One of what I would consider the staple of quality AR-15 parts, they took a turn for the worse. And you know what, it happens. We're going to go exactly over how bad the turn was, what's going on with Aero Precision, and I'm just going to wrap it all up for you. Before we get into the video, don't forget to shop at onlytacticalfans.shopify.com. That is the merchandise store that supports all of this. I am permanently demonetized from YouTube, so your guys' support there is what keeps this whole thing going. I got MREs, medical gear, survival stuff. I even got the Rambo Blue glow stick. All stuff you would want if you watch my videos. So let's get into it. To the digital board of knowledge. So Aero Precision entered receivership. What's really going on, they're not dead, but the courts have stepped in. Case number 26-2-08-316-4. That's in Washington. So what's going on right now is JS Held LLC. They got approved by the court. They are taking receivership over as of May 5th, 2026. What this means is Aero Precision, they are being basically run by a third party right now. Now this is better. This isn't a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 11. There is a difference. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. This is their address just to prove that this is the right place. Public notice, June 3rd, 2026. Creditors, they have a deadline of July 6th, 2026 to get their debt in there. Otherwise, it's basically going to be dismissed as not, like, it doesn't count anymore. Same thing as like a bankruptcy, but this is a little bit different. So receivership versus bankruptcy. Courts, they're keeping the company alive, basically. They're trying to manage the debt and find out if they can actually stabilize the business. All right, so this is the debt we got. What can we sell off? What can we do? What can we do to get that debt paid, but still keep the business alive? Where a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 11, you're basically not coming back. You're like, hey, you know, we are underwater. This is not fixable. Flush the toilet. So, like I said, JS Held, they are court appointed right now. They are taking it over. The goal is to pay the creditors and transfer the company to a new ownership. So they're going to be looking at everything, like, do we have to sell off equipment? Do we have to lay people off? Do we have to run a bunch of, like, fire sales? What do we have to do to pay this debt? And then make the company so it's not underwater anymore, so it can be sold to somebody else. So the company can and is still operating currently. So they're not gone, but they're in a very, very bad spot. And I get it. You know what? I've been there. Like my merchandise store, right? So I kept making just enough money to pay my bills and replace the inventory. I wasn't really getting ahead. So I took a gamble. I'm like, all right, so I'll finance a bunch of inventory to expand the store, because if I expand the store, the sales will go up, and therefore I'll make enough money to make it worth it. Well, that didn't happen. So instead of going up and making it, I'm like not quite making it as well as I'd like. So that can happen, but they did it on a bigger scale. They gambled. They were just doing so well. They wound up buying a bunch of stuff up, and that ultimately set in. Now, there's other factors into it. We're going to get into that a little bit later in the video, but first let's take a look at their public statement. So Aero Precision actually put this out themselves. So Aero Precision, Ballistic Advantage, Stag, VG6 are going through some problems. They're saying that right now they are offering customer service, they are doing shipping, they are doing manufacturing, they are doing warranty work, but things have got difficult and expect huge delays, but they are still functioning as a company as of right now. So current status, all these brands right here, bam, bam, bam. I would not buy them unless the store actually has them on the shelf in stock, because you don't know when they're going to ship. Will they ultimately ship? Yes, according to their public statement and according to what's going on right now, they are still fulfilling orders. They are still taking things, but things have slowed way down because of, obviously, the current circumstances. The fastest way for a company to save money is start laying off employees, because wages is one of your biggest costs. So the unfortunate side effect is, all right, I need to lay off these people to stay afloat, but when I lay off these people, well, now I'm not making things as fast. So it's kind of a feedback loop. And that's probably a lot what they got caught into. But anyway, the core team in place. They are still manufacturing and shipping, like I said, but it's going to be slower than normal. Widespread industry shortages and delays. Again, heavy discount on blem stuff, so maybe check it out. Maybe you can get yourself some good deals there, because obviously they're going to be liquidating some stuff to try to get above water. So pay attention to their site, but make sure that you verify that, okay, if I buy this, you actually have it and you're going to ship it immediately. I'm not buying this and then 6 months, 12 months from now you're going to ship it. So make sure they clarify that. So what led to this? Again, my example with the merchandise store, like sometimes bad decisions just happen. There was no way I could have known that my store wouldn't generate that much more money to be able to cover that. And they ran into the same thing. They were just doing so good. Like, then COVID happened. It probably gave them a false sense of security. So post-COVID demand, you're going to have a huge drop at that. Everybody felt that. I was obviously incarcerated, so I didn't get to feel that. But everyone else did. You know, I've already went through all the stuff trying to catch up with gun news and all that's going on. Yeah, a whole bunch of people took hits because they ramped up. And when you see something spike up that high, I mean, you're obviously going to expect it to peak off and fall a little bit, but I don't think people expected it to peak off and fall quite as much as it did, because it basically went back to where we were before COVID, with a little bit of uptick. There was an uptick there, but not as much as you would expect. Supply chain, COVID sells out and everything, well, now you got to get the parts in, so you place all these orders because they're going out so fast. Well, then the post-COVID drops. Well, now you still have to pay for all the stuff that you ordered that's coming in. So that happens. Then you got Washington State gun control restrictions as a whole. That's just got to be a huge burden on them. Ridiculously tough. Outgoing inventory and rebuilding the inventory they have. That's always a challenge too, because especially in the firearms industry, profit margins are extremely tight, depending on what exactly you're selling. And they had stuff at a good price, so I'm assuming they weren't operating at really high margins. I don't know what their margins were, so I can't pretend to know that. But they had a quality product at a very affordable price. The only way there can be that way is if they're running at a small margin. So I'm assuming that the margins just caught up with them. I do know they also switched buildings too, so maybe they bit off more than they could chew. They're like, all right, we'll buy this massive building because we're going to make so much more products, and then the products aren't being made. If they would have stayed at their old building, they might have been fine. Who knows? Again, I don't have access to their books. We're speculating at this point. All right, so practical advice at this point. Expect delays, expect shortages. Good deals will be had. If you pay attention, you will be able to snatch some stuff up because, again, they're in receivership, and the receivership's goal is to pay the debt. That is number one. Yes, his secondary goal is to preserve the company so it can be sold off and ownership can come in there. But goal number one is to pay off the debt. That could mean massive sales, massive discounts. But again, make sure the product is on hand before you buy it. Probably start looking at other people like Faxton, Proof Research, etc. when it comes down to your AR-10 builds, because who knows what's going to happen with them. Yes, they do take the DPMS pattern, so it is relatively universal. But I would probably, if you're going to build an AR-10, maybe start looking at different receivers or different barrels or stuff like that. And it sucks because Aero Precision did have, like I said, high quality parts, very affordable. But yeah, unless product is on hand, I probably wouldn't pull out your wallet. That's my opinion though. Anyways, appreciate you guys watching my videos. If you'd like to help support the channel, again, the best way to do this is shopping at OnlyTacticalFans at Shopify.com. Great merchandise that supports this channel. If you want to support the channel but you don't want to spend any money, the next best way to do is click on that Amazon affiliate link. Even if you don't buy what that link is for, just clicking on it. Doing the Amazon shopping you were already going to do anyway. I'll kick back for because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.